Do you feel that no matter how hard you work, money slips through your fingers, as if there's a hole in your spiritual pocket? Listen closely. This isn't bad luck. This is an attack. But the good news is, there's a spiritual law superior to any attack. The law of restitution. The Bible says that when a thief is caught, they must pay back sevenfold. Today, you won't just pray. You will enter into spiritual warfare to reclaim what is yours by divine right. Prepare yourself, because your financial victory begins now. There's an invisible force attempting to keep you bound by scarcity, fear, and the feeling that it's never enough. Perhaps you've felt it. You work hard, you strive, you do everything right, yet the outcome never seems to match your effort. It's as if something drains your blessings before they even reach your hands. And worse, this cycle repeats generation after generation. An emotional and spiritual poverty that seems inherited, an energy blocking prosperity without you even realizing it. What most people don't understand is that money, like everything else in the universe, is an expression of divine energy in motion. It's not just a tool, but a mirror of consciousness. When your mind is aligned with abundance, it flows. When it's contaminated by fear, guilt, or a belief in lack, it disappears. This is the war few truly see. It's not against people, nor against the system. It's a spiritual battle waged within your consciousness. Emmett Fox, one of the great masters of Christian metaphysics, taught that every prayer is a way of shaping the invisible substance of life, and that what you hold firmly in thought, with faith and emotion, inevitably materializes in the visible world. And that's precisely what you'll learn here: how to transform prayer into a true spiritual weapon of restitution, capable of recovering everything that was lost and multiplied. But before we proceed, remember something essential. This is no ordinary message. What you are about to hear has the power to alter the energetic structure of your financial life. So open your heart, silence distractions, and stay until the end, because the final revelation will be the most powerful of all, the one that can truly turn the key and definitively open the gates of divine abundance upon you. And if what you're about to hear begins to resonate within you, if it touches you deeply, it's a sign that your soul recognizes this truth. At this moment, take the opportunity to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because this isn't just a gesture, it's a symbolic act of covenant. When you connect with content that elevates your consciousness, you declare to the universe, "I am ready to receive what is mine." There is a spiritual law that governs all manifestations. It states, whatever you hold in your mind, with emotion and faith, takes form. The prayer you will learn to make today is not a plea. It is a decree. It is a direct command to the quantum field and the spiritual realm for everything that has been diverted, withheld, or stolen to flow back into your direction. Perhaps you've spent years asking God for change and felt He didn't answer. But what you didn't know is that He had already answered, only your mind was still vibrating in lack, not in possession. The energy of true prayer is not born from need, but from certainty. The certainty that what is yours by divine right already exists and is on its way. Emmett Fox said, "What you think, you create. What you feel, you attract. What you believe, you make real." This is the essence of the law of attraction illuminated by faith. And when you understand that the universe responds to your vibration, not just your words, you begin to pray differently. You stop asking and start declaring. You stop waiting and start manifesting. The war prayer for financial restitution is where faith and creative power converge. It's when you assume your spiritual authority, put the enemy to flight, and command abundance to flow back, 7 times more intensely. It's in this moment that your mind aligns with the divine mind, and everything that seemed lost begins to be restored. And if you want to go deeper into this process, to understand how to align your mind and emotions, to manifest real prosperity, not just words but results, access the link in the first pinned comment. There you'll find a practical and transformative path to activate the power of conscious manifestation, because it's not enough just to know, you must live this truth, and that's what you will begin to do today. From here on, every word you hear will be like a seed of light planted in your mind, and if you nurture it well, watering it with faith and emotion, the fruit will be inevitable. The restitution of everything that belongs to you, multiplied, restored, and consecrated by divine power. Now, prepare yourself. The war prayer is about to begin. When you understand that there is a spiritual war being waged behind material circumstances, everything changes. Suddenly you begin to realize that the losses, blockages, and even financial failures you experienced were not coincidences. There was an invisible energy attempting to impede the natural flow of divine abundance in your life. And that is precisely why this prayer is not a simple sequence of words. It is a convocation, a call to your consciousness to awaken and reclaim what is yours. Restitution begins in the invisible. Before anything manifests on the physical plane, it must be rebuilt on the spiritual plane. And that's why often you pray, work, try to change something in the external world, but nothing seems to happen, because the true battlefield is internal. The mind is the altar where faith is deposited, and the heart is the fire that gives life to what you desire. When these two align, mind and heart, the miracle happens. Emmett Fox taught that every thought is a prayer, every feeling a creative force, and every word a seed that germinates in the invisible until it blossoms in the visible. That's why even when you're not praying, you are creating. When you think, I never have enough, that's a prayer. When you feel fear about the future, that's another. The universe doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It merely replicates the energetic pattern you sustain with the most force. Therefore, the war prayer is the moment you consciously decide to change the pattern. You abandon the role of victim and assume the place of the child who knows their divine inheritance. This is where you look at scarcity and say, no more. And when you do that, you break the cycle. Perhaps you've inherited limiting beliefs from your parents or grandparents, old ideas that money is hard, life is tough, God tests his own with poverty. But the truth is, God is not a prover. He is a provider. Scarcity does not come from God. It comes from disconnection from him. When the mind moves away from the source, the flow is interrupted. But when you return to the consciousness of the divine presence, everything realigns and abundance resumes its natural course. Christ himself said, I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. Abundance is the natural state of creation. Look at nature. No tree struggles to bloom, no river strains to run, no star competes for brightness. Everything flows in perfect harmony because it is connected to the source. Humanity is the only one that breaks this harmony by doubting its own power. But when you pray with understanding, something shifts. You stop begging and start commanding, not with arrogance, but with the consciousness of authority. Because the child of God does not ask for what already belongs to them, they take possession. And the prayer of restitution is precisely that, a firm and unwavering declaration that the time of loss is over. When the Bible says that the thief, when discovered, must pay back sevenfold, it is revealing a spiritual law of compensation. Everything that was diverted from your path, opportunities, resources, contracts, ideas, prosperity, is recorded in the invisible planes of creation. And when you pray with true faith, these records are reactivated. What was forgotten is remembered. What was trapped is released. What seemed lost is returned, multiplied. But it's essential to understand something profound. Restitution doesn't only come in the form of money. It comes as clarity, inspiration, inner strength, the right people crossing your path, doors that were once closed suddenly opening. It is the entire universe conspiring in favor of what is just for you. And in this process, prayer is the sword. Every word you utter with faith cuts the invisible bonds of limitation. Every affirmation of abundance disarms the fear that tries to steal your confidence. It's a silent yet powerful war. And victory begins when you choose to think differently, feel differently, declare differently. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine there's a great book before God. In it are written all the blessings destined for you, every idea, every gift, every opportunity. Now imagine that for some reason, fear, guilt, old beliefs, some of these blessings were delayed. Not denied, just postponed. They are waiting for your command to be released. This is the function of the war prayer, to open the book of your inheritance and say, with faith and authority, I now receive what is mine by divine right. And as you do this, something changes in the invisible field. Vibrations reorganize, energy flows again, and the universe begins to conspire in silence. It might seem like a coincidence when you receive an unexpected call, an invitation, a proposal, forgotten money that appears, but it's not coincidence. It is restitution. Divine energy moves in silence, but with precision. It never misses its address. Everything that is yours will find its way back to you when you are vibrating at the right frequency. And that frequency is faith, not blind faith, but conscious faith, the kind that knows the invisible is more real than what can be seen. Emmett Fox taught that you don't need to ask God to give you prosperity. You just need to remove the mental blockages that prevent it from manifesting. The mind is like a window. If it's covered in fear, guilt, or resentment, the light of abundance cannot enter. But when you clean that window with thoughts of gratitude, love, and certainty, the sun illuminates everything once more. And that's why the war prayer is also a prayer of cleansing. It expels the shadows that have lodged in your mind, those internal voices that say, you don't deserve it, you're not capable, it will never work out. These voices do not come from God. They are echoes of the past, noises of collective scarcity. And each time you challenge them with the truth, I am one with the source of all wealth, a layer of limitation dissolves. Now breathe deeply. Imagine yourself surrounded by a golden light, warm, alive. This light is the presence of God in the form of prosperity. Feel it filling every cell of your body, every space of your heart. And as you connect with this light, declare in thought, everything that was stolen from me shall be restored sevenfold. For the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Don't just say it with your mouth, say it with your heart. Because when the heart believes, the universe obeys. It is in that instant that barriers fall and the flow is re-established. Perhaps at this moment you recall specific situations where you lost something, a job, money, an opportunity, a relationship that cost you dearly emotionally. Understand, none of it was truly lost. Everything that departed transformed into energy waiting to be redirected. And the war prayer is the call that awakens this energy. Therefore, never underestimate the power of your word. When you pray with faith and emotion, your voice echoes in the spiritual planes. And the universe, which is entirely sensitive to vibration, begins to reorganize the reality around you. Sometimes the changes seem subtle, a new idea, a synchronicity, but each one is a step towards complete restitution. And there's a secret few know. Restitution doesn't just happen when money returns, but when you become the person capable of sustaining abundance without fear. Because if money comes without consciousness, it is lost again. But when consciousness expands, the flow remains. That's why this prayer is more than a request for blessing. It's a soul training. You are being prepared to live abundance as a permanent state, not just a moment. And as this consciousness settles in, external circumstances begin to reflect this new energy. The universe doesn't deny, it mirrors. If you feel poor, it reflects scarcity. If you feel prosperous, it reflects abundance. The war prayer changes that reflection because it changes you. It leads you to remember who you are, an heir to the infinite source of all prosperity. And if you want to deepen this power even further, to learn how to align your vibration and your faith so that the universe responds precisely, access the link in the first pinned comment. There you'll find the path that will show you step by step how to transform prayer into manifestation. Now, prepare for the most important moment, the final revelation. True restitution isn't just receiving what was lost, but awakening to the power you've always possessed and perhaps never fully utilized. It's understanding that you don't need to chase prosperity. You simply need to become the channel through which it flows. When this consciousness takes hold, the miracle isn't the money that arrives. The miracle is the fear that departs. And it is exactly there, in that instant of clarity, that divine restitution happens. The war prayer for financial restitution is not just a spiritual act, it is an awakening. It is the instant you remember who you truly are and understand that you were never alone on this journey. What you call losses, God calls lessons. What you call delays, the universe calls preparation. And everything that seemed to slip from your hands is now being redirected, multiplied, ready to return to you in a new, more aligned, stronger, more prosperous form. The truth is, life always wanted to bless you, but it was necessary for you to be ready to sustain what you asked for. Because it's not enough just to receive, you must be conscious of the value, the energy, and the responsibility that abundance brings. And now, after understanding the spiritual laws that govern restitution, you are ready to be the channel of divine prosperity in action. You know that weight you've been carrying in your heart, that feeling of injustice, that something was cruelly taken from you. Well, today is the day to surrender that burden, because there's no room for restitution where resentment still exists. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the vault of abundance. When you release what hurt you, the universe understands that you are free to receive. It's as if your energy is saying, I've learned the lesson, now I am ready for the return. And it is at this point that prayer becomes power. It ceases to be a repetition of words and becomes a pure vibration, a conscious declaration of faith. You no longer speak with fear nor with despair. You speak with authority, with certainty, with the power of one who knows the Father does not fail. Because God doesn't need to be convinced. He has already granted it. It is your mind that needs to accept. Financial restitution, in truth, is a living metaphor for inner restoration. When you change within, everything around you changes too. Money starts arriving, opportunities appear, doors open. But what changed wasn't the world, it was you. And that is the deepest victory anyone can achieve. Look back for a moment. See everything you've overcome. Think of how many times you thought you couldn't, yet you still made it this far. That is already a miracle. You are living proof that faith works. And now you are ready to experience the next miracle, that of total restitution. But remember, true wealth is not measured by what you have, but by what you are capable of generating, transforming, and sharing. Abundance is a current, and the more you allow it to flow, the more it returns to you. It is the eternal movement of life, giving, receiving, and multiplying. From today, pray with the consciousness of one who already possesses. Speak as one who has already won. Give thanks as one who has already received. Because the vibration of gratitude is the final seal of manifestation. When you give thanks in advance, you tell the universe, I trust, and the universe responds, then receive. Everything that was taken from you, visibly or not, is now being repositioned on your path. Energies are realigning, forces are moving, and the spiritual field is in full operation. Nothing is stagnant anymore. The current has begun to flow again, and what is yours will come to you with divine precision. God has not forgotten you. He never forgets. Every tear, every struggle, every silent prayer has been recorded. And now, in perfect timing, the return begins. But this time, you don't just receive what was lost, you receive the consciousness of the unfailing source. You receive the certainty that you can create, manifest, and multiply everything you need, as many times as necessary. This is the promise of the law of restitution. Everything that was taken will be returned in abundance, and when the enemy is discovered, the payment is sevenfold. Sevenfold opportunities, sevenfold wisdom, sevenfold blessings. Close your eyes and declare within yourself, I receive, I accept, I take possession. Feel the energy expanding, feel the vibration of victory approaching, because at this very moment, as you hear these words, the universe is responding. The pieces are falling into place, doors are opening, the invisible is moving in your favor, and if something within you ignites upon hearing this, it's because your spirit recognizes the truth. You were born to prosper, to live in fullness, to reflect the Creator's glory through abundance. And this abundance is not a privilege, it is an inheritance. The war prayer ends here, but the spiritual battle for your prosperity continues within your mind, in your words, in your attitudes. Every time you choose faith instead of fear, confidence instead of doubt, love instead of resentment, you will be winning again. And when abundance begins to manifest, because it will, remember to honor this moment. Share, multiply, give thanks. Because everything shared with love grows, everything offered with faith returns multiplied. If this message has touched something within you, if it has made you feel hope, if it has ignited the flame of confidence in your heart, then this is your sign. The universe is calling you to a new cycle. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel right now to continue receiving messages that strengthen your faith and expand your consciousness. And if you want to take the next step to delve deeper into the manifestation process and learn how to attract prosperity in both a practical and spiritual way, access the link in the first pinned comment. There lies the beginning of your new journey. Now breathe deeply and feel the peace, because the war is over. You have won, and everything that is yours is returning to you.